On the subject of the death penalty, this comes from Andrew from Telford down in Montgomery County. And Andrew writes, I would love to see our state as the Texas of the East, especially for those convicted of horrific crimes where there is no doubt the person committed the crime. So let's talk a little bit about the death penalty here. Let me ask you a question, not so much as a governor, but as a man. I know you've signed some death warrants. That's got to be one of the most serious things that crosses your desk. And tell me what you go through when you look at that piece of paper.
Well, first off, you have to go back in my history. In 1979, I convicted an individual of killing a police officer and convinced the jury to impose a death penalty. Ultimately, the Supreme Court overturned not the conviction. He's sitting in jail for the rest of his life, but overturned the right of the Commonwealth at that point of time to seek the death penalty. So the first hurdle is, can you do that? When I made that decision, the next hurdle is when I see a death warrant come before me. I look at the file. It's already been reviewed repeatedly. It's already gone through at least one appeal to the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania. I will read the file and make a determination whether I agree with it or not. Frankly, though, the way we have it in Pennsylvania, it's more ministerial than it is the ability to say yes or no, because we've changed the law in the past few years that should I not sign it, then the Secretary of Corrections can sign it. But I look at it, I review it, and feel comfortable with it.
Would you ever entertain a death penalty moratorium like some states have put into place, and most recently Illinois? No, not at all.
The Pennsylvania DA's Association kind of says we have a de facto moratorium because of the appeals process right now. Are you interested in looking at how to streamline the appeals process?
Well, it is, but it's not the appeals process in Pennsylvania. So we can't affect it. It's the appeal process at the federal level, and particularly with the Third Circuit Court of Appeals. Today we have a rather fairly quick movement of cases after conviction to the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania, and a determination by the Supreme Court.
But it's been 11 years since our last execution in the state,
but that is, again, because in each case, those warrants signed by the governor, and Governor Rendell signed many warrants, are suspended by the governor once the appeal goes to the Third Circuit. Excuse me. And the Third Circuit takes a look at these cases. Then it's out of our hands. The federal government is going to either have to change their rules, which I don't think they will, because if you look at other circuits, it goes through much more smoothly. The Fifth Circuit is, I think, where Texas is. They have a different view on the death penalty than many of the members of the Third Circuit here. And the Third Circuit is Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and the Virgin Islands, than the members of that circuit. And that comes down to the individual backgrounds of the judges on the circuit and the individual backgrounds of the justices on the Supreme Court of the United States.